Um, Here we're going to look at another type of sum and difference problem. So let's look at the question. The question is that we know the sum of three consecutive integers is 165, and we need to figure out what are these numbers, and the question is just figure out the smallest number. So consecutive integer means something like 3, 4, 5, or 10, 11, 12, and these are called consecutive integers, one next to each other. Right. So why this is sum and difference problem? Well, here it's clear we know what the sum is, 165. And the point is that difference between these integers, they are always 1. These are consecutive integers. So that's also sum and difference problem. And we're going to solve it use similar method, use graph. Okay. So let's draw a picture. So let's say these three numbers. The smallest number, instead of number, I will use a bar to represent it. Okay. And then the next number, well, it just will be one bigger. So the same bar, and then will be one bigger. And the next number. So here, even though we have three numbers, you can use the same method. Just draw them and represent them with bars and circles. The next number will be one more. So I have one more circles here. Okay. And now what we know is that if we add up together, sum, well, the sum is actually, you have three of these things, and then you have three circles, and that's equals to 165. So you circle represent to three. So now the three bars means the three bar is just 165 minus 3. Okay. So we have one more, two more, three more. So take away the 3, you get 162. So now what's the smallest number? The smallest number here, this is the smallest number. That's just 162 divided by 3. And that is 54. So the three numbers are 54, 55, and 56. Okay. Alright, so this works pretty well for like three numbers. But let's think about a similar question. If, let's say we have sum of, instead of three numbers, sum of 11 consecutive numbers. Let's say this is 99. Okay? And what are these numbers? Then if we use the same method, I will need to draw bars 11 times. And it's certainly doable, but you will do a lot of calculations. And you can solve these problems with shortcuts. You don't need to draw these bars actually. So let's observe what is 54 in the solution. Well, the numbers are the following. There's three numbers in this problem, which adds up to be 165. These three numbers are 54, 55, and 56. Now, if you observe the middle number 55 here, and this is the average of 54 and 56. And indeed, this middle number is basically the average of all three numbers. So now you see that there's another simple way to solve this problem. So the simple way to solve this problem is actually find average first. So in this case, the average is 99 divided by 11 equals 9. And in the previous problem, average is 165 divided by 3 is 55. And you see what happens when we find average? Average is going to be middle number. So once we find 55 as average, then the other numbers are 54 and 56. Now here what the situation is. Well, the situation we had 9 as the average in this problem, 99 divided by 11. So what are these numbers? Well, it should be in the middle. Because they're consecutive, then you can figure out 9, 8, 7, 11. Just keep writing from left to right. So how many numbers are there to the left? Well, there are 11 numbers. So there are 5 to the left, 5 to the right, 1 in the middle. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And this will be 12. So 9, 1, 2, 3. I have 2 more here. 13 and 14. Okay? So for these problems, you could also first find average, then you will be able to figure out all the rest of numbers. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, we'll do one more problem like this. So in this example, we look at sum of 4 consecutive numbers. And this is 410. And what are these numbers? So again, we have 2 different ways to solve this problem. You could draw bars. Bars plus 1, plus 2, and plus 3. These are 4 consecutive numbers. And you can do it that way. Or you can find average. Okay. Now, again, I would say the way to look for average will be easier. But if you look for average, in this case, you notice that because we have 4 numbers instead of 3 or 11, 3 and 11 are odd. So if you do the average, you will get the middle number. But here, 4 is an even number. So if you take average, you will actually get a number somewhere in between the second and third number. So the average is not going to be an integer. And indeed, in this case, the average is 410 divided by 4. Well, if you count that, it's 102, then plus something. Plus, you still have 2 quarters left if you do the division. Okay, so what does that mean? That means the average sits in between 102 and 103. So this is something to be expected. But even though you don't have the integer, the problem is still solved because that's what it means. This will be, the second number will be 102, third number 103, and first 101, and last 104. Okay, that will be 410. All right. So if you do, of course, do the 4 bars, the solution will be the same. You have 4 over the bars, so 6 will be 410. And if it goes through the calculation for the bars, it's 410 minus 6. With 4 is 4, and clearly 4 divided by 4 is 101, and you do get the same numbers. So there's a little difference between even and odd numbers. For even numbers, when you take average, you don't get the integer, but that's fine. Alright, that concludes this lecture.